Because I remember a time in hip hop where you had to be so different from the next person or you were trash. There's a shift somewhere that happened that if it doesn't sound like everything else, then it's trash automatically.
Yeah.
And I just sat back like, okay, all right, I can take that. It's not like I can't take constructive criticism, but I feel like it kind of went beyond constructive criticism. So I had to go back to it. And look, I have made albums that definitely probably would not be the top of my list.
Mm-hmm.
Encore.
Okay.
Relapse, which I believe Encore is a better album than Relapse. Relapse is something that I looked at in a couple of years, went back to and cringed at. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I didn't even realize I was doing that many accents. I just started, for whatever reason, I just got into it and was just like, started on this weird serial killer vibe kind of thing.
Yeah.
And started wanting to talk crazy and started bending words more. And the only way you can bend them is with this accent, trying to use this one, like. And a couple years later, in making Recovery and slipping out of that, getting out of the accents and beyond it, made Recovery.
Yeah.
And I always say that if it wasn't for Relapse, I wouldn't have been able to make Recovery. And if it wasn't for Revival, I wouldn't have been able to make this album. So I'm good with it. It just, some people more than others went a little far with it.
A little far with it. I want to get into that too. And I almost, when I listen to Kamikaze and I hear some people say, man, that's the vintage M we wanted. We wanted Shady back, right? And when I listen to it, man, I have to admit, man, I hear something in you on this album that kind of made me rejoice in a way I've done in the past. I like the fact that you're not running from the criticism. I like the fact that in this digital age, you're not, cowering and then reforming to what people think you should sound like or how people think you should act, and you're calling it out. And I actually like some of these review shows that you see on YouTube, and they take people's music and they have fun with it. I look at these kids, and I see us when we were young. I see myself when I was younger before YouTube, and we'd go through a G-Rap album and, oh, this was dope, that was dope. A Far Side album, this was dope.
Yeah.
They just kind of doing that, right? And you address them. So you're that in tuned, like in the beginning of The Ringer, when you talk about if you critique me, you can make millions. If I critique you, there's nothing I really...
Yeah, it gets into the territory where it's like you got, okay, so since the internet has become what the internet's become, and since YouTube and all that, you've got so many, how can I say this? It's almost like not enough Indians, too many chiefs. So it's like everybody on the internet, and in hip hop especially, it seems like either a rapper, a DJ, a writer, a producer, has something to do with it. And I love the fact that so many people now have been able to get on easier than it was for me or you back in the day, because we didn't have this platform. So I appreciate the platform. It's just that now you've got people that not only are doing the same thing and they can do it better, but you've got people who don't do anything and are just critiquing it. So I sat back and I'm like, okay, that's fine. People can talk crazy about me. That's fine. They should express themselves, and they have a right to. But I also get to say whatever the fuck I want about you now. Like I said, I'm good with Revival. Fuck it. Because I couldn't have made this album without that.
Yeah.
And there is something, I'm not gonna lie, there is something inside me that is a little more happy when I'm angry. It's like, as bad as it feels to be there, there's also something about it, there's a rush of it that I like, because it inspires me to say something back. So you get in that weird area too where it's like, oh, he says he doesn't care about what anybody thinks about him, but now he cares about what everybody thinks about him. No, he's just saying he don't care. He'll say anything he wants about you if you say it about him because he doesn't care. Like, there's so many different levels to not caring about shit. You know what I'm saying? But it was interesting. It was definitely interesting because I'm like, how fucking off is my ear?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, and then it was interesting to watch the reaction of the Chloroseptic remix verse that I did.
Yeah, with 2 Chainz, and you put that out in January, and you touched on, you guys formed your opinion just from a track.
And that's where I was at.
Yeah.
At that point in time, that's definitely where I was at. But I watched people going, oh, why wasn't this on Revival? Honestly, what if I said it was on Revival?